Today we continue with our laws of Shabbos. Today class number 11. And we continue with our Sefer Shmiras Chalashon and page number 67. And today's topic, do whatever you can. So it says, do you really think you can avoid everything that must not be spoken? It's a good question. It's a Chara is talking. So how can you avoid? Why? You are a man of the world, and you have dealings with scores of people. It just makes sense. I mean, whatever Yitzhak tells you, 100% logical. Can you avoid not to speak everything forbidden? No. Are you living among men and you have to communicate? Yes. Okay. This was another argument cited above, which can lead a person to totally ignore the concept of Shmiras Chalashon. So Shmiras Chalashon, just to remind us, it's watching our tongue, our speech. Again, we respond with analogy. Let us suppose that I was hurling somewhere to engage in business enterprise. Hurrying somewhere to engage in business enterprise. A man asks me, why do you hurry? Do you think that this enterprise will make you one of the world's richest men like so and so? Surely I would reply that a reason not to seek livelihood for myself is the reason not to seek a livelihood for myself. So basically, the guy said, "Why are you trying? Why are you trying to do the business? Are you going to be rich as Bill Gates?" He said, "No." But that does not mean that I don't have to pay my rent, right? I can still make money to pay for my groceries for my family, right? If this response is correct, then when material concerns matters are concerned, then surely it applies when the spiritual matters are at stake. So do whatever you can. Meaning, right? If one feels that he cannot abide by the laws of forbidden speech with all their details and fine points, does it mean that he should refrain entirely from caring for his soul? Right? Which does not make sense. So do it, just do as much as you can, learn every day, and you're going to improve. Is it reason to allow oneself to, heaven forbid, be counted among the balei lashon hara, habitual gossipers, who will not merit to bask in the glory of divine presence, as it says in Talmud Sota 42a. So, as we know, this type of people, bal lashon hara, who are habitual gossipers, they're not going to have a portion in Olam Haba. It's one of the kind. Okay. Reishis Chochma, in Shar Achava, chapter 54, relates that Rav Moshe Caldavero saw the author of Shulchan Sodos in a dream, following the latter's passing, and he was shining like a light of a torch. The deceased revealed that this was in the merit of his having avoided that idle chatter while in this world. So that's what we're trying to do always. And if somebody don't, you should avoid the empty conversations. Should such a matter be totally forfeit, because one feels that to acquire it entirely is out of reach? Right? So, I mean, as we said, it's unbelievable light that this rabbi did. Okay, so you'll get a smaller light, but you have to try. The wisest of the men declared, whatever you're able to do with your might, do it. It says in Kahelas 9:10. Shlomo HaMelech, King Solomon. Meaning that even if one feels he cannot fulfill the given mitzvah in all its fine points, nevertheless he should strive to fulfill it to his best, to the best of his ability. So I think it's not only this; it's a general point of life, right? So do at this point you can do even half mitzvah, do half of the mitzvah. right? But just because you cannot finish, don't let it stop you. It is in this vein that our sages derive from the verse. Then the Moshe set aside 3 cities. It says in Dvarim 4:41 that all those 3 cities could not afford the refuge to the one who murdered inadvertently, until the 3 cities in the land of Canaan can be set aside. And the Moshe knew that he would not be permitted to enter the land of Israel, and set them aside. Nevertheless, Moshe said, I will accomplish whatever is in my power to accomplish. So just to elaborate this story, I mean, it's very brief. So altogether there were 6 cities of refuge. Right, so 3 in the land of Canaan, meaning in Israel, and 3 on a west bank, right, of the Jordan. So Moshe did not cross to the land of Israel, as we know, but he was able to assign the cities. Of course, they were not functional. They would start functioning many years later. I'm not sure how many years later, but at least 14 years later, after his passing, at least. Right, but at least he did, and his time, whatever he was able to, right, and he did not stop. Okay, so we stop here. So we're going to our book, Radiance of Shabbos, and 1 second, let me check what chapter, what is the title of the chapter. So we're on the chapter Shabbos meals. Okay, that's what we started last time. And we're on point number 3. And it says, laws pertaining to morning meal. So last time we discussed Friday night meal. So today we're going to discuss Shabbos morning meal. Number 1. It is forbidden to fast past the midday on Shabbos. There is a halfway between sunrise and sunset. So it's actually, believe it or not, it's Hashgacha Pratis, divine providence. So it's corresponding to what we learned yesterday in our Kitzur class. Okay. So, all right, very nice. So it says that the person cannot fast past the midday on Shabbos. So midday is a halakhic midday. So I'm not sure what is it today. Like I would say 12 something today, right? So it's always as we said before. The day is divided by 2, meaning day and night. And then from sunrise to sunset, it's so they calculate how many hours. So it's going to be day, and then we calculate how many halakhic minutes in 1 hour. So that's how we calculate midday. But let's say it's at 12:30 today. Let's say, right? So it says it is forbidden to fast past the midday. Okay, past the midday. Continue. Number 2. Even if one already broke his fast midday, for example, he drank something before downing, as we said yesterday, if person is weak or he's thirsty or he's this or he's that or he's sick, so he's allowed to drink or eat something before downing. So let's say he drank coffee before downing, which we say it's allowed if he needs to. It says it is still preferable to begin the meal before midday. So it's not, for sure, he's not fasting because he drank this coffee, but preferable not to do it, not to fast. But I would say, like my addition to this would be maybe he's not fasting, but his family is fasting. Whoever is left behind at home, they're waiting for him to come from the synagogue, so they're fasting. Some authorities rule that someone davening or studying the Torah may delay eating even past the midday. So basically, so if they want to prolong prayers, so there is no problem. Or he wants to study a little, also no problem. Number 3. Once again, if nobody is waiting for him at home, so there is no problem. But if my family is waiting, it's not or a guest or whatever his host is waiting for him. So it's not proper to do that. Number 3, the obligation to eat bread at the first meal of the day is identical to the Friday night, as we learned last week. Okay, so basically on Shabbos day he must eat bread. Okay. Number 4, it is a mitzvah to arrange before Shabbos to have warm food for this meal because warm food enhances the enjoyment of the Shabbos meal. So for this, many people, for example, some people use a hot plate, this electric hot plate. Some people use blech, meaning like regular gas stove, and they cover it with a piece of metal. And other people use slow cookers, crack pots. So whatever they use, it does not make any difference. So the point is that at least he has to have like one warm dish on Shabbos, because if everything cold, it's not such a festive meal. Okay, number 5, fish should also be eaten at this meal. Some people have the custom to eat eggs. Okay. So, okay, fish, of course, meat also, right? Fish is meat, okay, eggs. Continue, number 6. One should be careful not to overeat this meal to avoid ruining his appetite for Seudah Shlishis, the third meal. This is especially important during the winter months, when the Shabbos day is short. So, for example, just recently, I know months or 2 ago, so the mincha was like, I don't know, 4 o'clock, 4:10, 4:20, which is very early. So by the time you finish your meal, the day meal, it's like maybe 1:30. So of course you're not that hungry 2 hours later. So that's what they say: don't overeat, because there is another mitzvah to eat at the third meal, as we explained last time in this class. So there is a mitzvah to eat 3 times on Shabbos, 1 on Friday night and 2 during the day. Okay, so the third meal is called Seudah Shlishis. Okay, so part number 4, wine during the meal. Ordinarily, when one drinks wine during a meal, he is required to say Borei Pri Gefen. However, if one drank the wine before the meal, before the beginning of the meal, he need not to repeat Borei Pri Gefen over the wine during the meal. This is only true if one usually drinks wine during the meal, or when he was saying Borei Pri Gefen, he had intention to examine the wine at this meal. Okay, so let's explain what does it mean. So in our case, so he would say kiddush, and of course he would say blessing on a wine or a grape juice, whatever he does. And if he usually drinks the grape juice or wine during his Shabbos meal, morning meal, there is no problem. So it's like his intention. It's like his intention, right? So he does not need to make separate bracha. But if, for example, if I'm a guest in somebody's house, and for whatever reason they did not give me wine, or they gave me wine, but it's I don't know, I cannot drink wine. I only want to drink juice. They didn't have juice at that time. I didn't touch wine. So if I wanted to drink this grape juice during the Shabbos meal, so I would need to say my separate blessing, Borei Pri Gefen. Okay. But just to explain why they mention all of this. So basically, if we have regular meal, let's say on Wednesday, on Thursday, any weekday. So if we have meal and we have bread, right, and we have wine, so we start our meal with a blessing on the bread. So we go wash our hands, say Al Nitalas Yadayim, and then we start eating bread, and then we drink wine. So, but for wine, we have to say Borei Pri Gefen. So the blessing on the bread covers almost everything. There are exceptions, and wine is one of the exceptions, right? So that's why they start explaining that on Shabbos when you say Kiddush before the bread, so you have to have in mind that you're going to drink more wine during the meal, right? Or that's what it's your usual custom. Okay. So, and then in this case, you don't need to repeat the blessing. But if you did not drink the wine from Kiddush, which is possible, I know they ran out of wine, they didn't give you, they forgot about whatever, or you were late, or you were standing aside, whatever happened. So you just say your own blessing, Borei Pri Chagef, and then you're good. Okay, number 2. If he is a person who usually drinks the wine during the Shabbos meal, he need not to recite new bracha, even if he did not explicitly have in mind during the Kiddush to drink more wine. This is because halacha assumes that a person's unformulated state of mind to reflect his ordinary practice. Okay, so if you did not have anything in mind, so they assume, so halacha assumes that that's what you're going to do. For example, as we spoke before, somebody, I don't remember who, asked the question, if he ate apple, and if he needs to say a blessing for another apple. Maybe apple was not a good example. For example, let's say grapes, right? So let's say if he said blessing on one grape, or on one piece of grape. So the question is if he allowed to eat more, if he decided only to taste, right? Right. So they say if his practice usually not to taste, like if he did not know I'm going to eat more, or only one, or I'm not sure. So basically, so if he didn't have anything specific in his mind, and now and he usually eats more than one, so that's absolutely fine. He can continue eating. If he didn't have like specifically in mind that I'm going to taste only this one and that's it. Okay. Obviously, therefore, one who does not originally drink the wine during his meal must recite Borei Pri Chagef in bracha if he should decide to do so, unless he clearly had in mind to drink more wine when reciting Kiddush. So here they give a very interesting situation, right? So let's say this person does not like wine for whatever reason, and he only drinks because there is halacha to drink the wine. So he drinks it only during the Kiddush, and that's it. He does not. But this time somebody brought him a very interesting new bottle of wine, right? He never tried this wine, and he actually liked it. So now if he did not have explicitly in mind that I'm going to continue drinking, and it's not his habit to do so, so he must say another blessing Borei Pri Chagef if he wants to drink more of this wine during his Kiddush. One more time, because it's not what he usually does, and he did not have a specific intention to do so. Okay, number 3. The above cases where one needs to repeat the Borei Pri Chagef or wine during the meal apply only to those people who actually drank from the Kiddush wine. One who fulfilled his Kiddush obligation by hearing from another person, but did not drink from wine, must recite Borei Pri Chagef or wine if he drinks during the meal. Okay, so basically we have already explained, but just to summarize. So only if a person drank from the Kiddush wine, right? So he's exempt from separate blessing. But if he did not drink from the Kiddush wine, and he wants to drink wine during the meal, he's obligated to say separate blessing. Okay. Number 4, bracha achrona, concluding bracha, is not required after drinking the Kiddush wine, because the Birchas Hamazon recited at the end of the meal includes the Kiddush wine too. Preferably, one should have the Kiddush wine in mind, when recited with Birchas Hamazon. So now it's very interesting thing that so on the one hand, so let me explain why they put this paragraph to begin with, right? So on one hand, this blessing on the wine, this kiddush is separate from the meal, because as we know, milk starts with a bread. So that's where meal starts. So in some sense, this wine does not belong to the kiddush, right? And in some situation, it would be questionable situation. But in this case, you cannot start meal without making kiddush. So that's why they say even wine is drunk before the kiddush, it's a part of the kiddush. So I mean, it's a part of the meal. So you cannot start meal without this the blessing on the wine. So they're connected, even though the wine comes before bread. Okay, and it is covered by Birchas Hamazon. So just to add to this, even some things they're not covered by they're not covered by Birchas Hamazon, but by bread, right? By blessing on the bread, right? So that's fine, right? We say separate blessing. For example, if somebody wants to eat some dessert and some fruits, right, at the end of the meal, so they're not covered, but they included in Birchas Hamazon. Okay, so continue. Number 5, los pertaining to the third meal. So we finished with the second meal, meaning the Shabbos morning meal. Now we're going to the third meal. The third meal should not be eaten earlier than the half an hour past the midday. Note the half an hour is calculated according to seasonal hours, as we explained. So it's half an hour after the midday. So just to explain what does it mean. So this half an hour after the midday is the earliest time when we can pray mincha. Okay, so and they say so at this time you can already eat your third meal. Okay. If one eats earlier, he does not fulfill his obligation. If one began to the third meal before this time, but continues eating until half an hour past the midday, he can fulfill his obligation by eating a little more the kibeya of bread at that time. However, one should preferably not to begin his meal before the proper time. So what it says here? So the proper time to start at least half an hour before after the midday. So I would say that people usually not hungry. If you go to shul to pray in normal hours, I would say like 8:45, 8:30, 9 a.m. wherever they start. So at this time you will be still eating your regular Shabbos meal. So it's not a question, right? So but for whatever reason, maybe a person is sick and he is praying by himself at home. Maybe he started early. Maybe he started at 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock. So technically, even 7 or maybe 6, whatever he started. So technically, it's possible that you finish your morning meal, and now like half an hour after the midday, like you're already hungry. Technically, it's possible. Right, so they say proper not to start before half an hour past the midday. But if he started and he continued here, so he prolonged his meal, and so he has to eat this big piece of bread. Kibeya, we say like 2 ounces of bread after that time, after midday, and it's counted as he ate at proper time. So okay. But one more time, not proper. It's not to begin start that earlier. Okay, continue. Number 2. It is customary to eat the meal after davening mincha. However, if it is difficult, one may eat before the mincha. Okay, so proper. So because the reason is some people drink wine during this meal. Okay, so they say go to pray mincha first if you have this option. So you usually in shuls around here, usually in most of them, they people come for the mincha and they already stay for a mariv till the end of the Shabbos. So they eat this third meal in a shul, or for example, like today there is no third meal because of the corona, so people eat at home, right? So of course we like all of us, not most, all of us eat before the mincha, which is they say if it's difficult, so there is no choice. Okay, number 3, one should begin Silda Shlishis, so this third meal, before sunset. So it's very so we said the earliest time. Half an hour after the midday, and preferably before the sunset. Okay, if he did not do so, he may still begin it until half an hour before the nightfall. So nightfall is when Shabbos ends, and so basically half an hour before the nightfall. It's I would say it's pretty dark outside. But it's still, as we know, it's like under the circumstances, we still allow him. But it's not proper, but we still allow him. Okay. Number 4, one is required to eat bread in the third meal. However, some authorities rule that the obligation to eat a third meal can be fulfilled with a cake or other mizonos food. Okay, so proper, I would say eat bread. Okay, so but if he's too full, he didn't listen what we told him not to overeat during Shabbos day meal, so he can eat mizonos. Mizonos like a cookies or a cake, well, not a lot. Others rule that even when fish is sufficient. Some even permit fruit. Nevertheless, unless it's he's really full, one should wash for the bread. So I would say it's I would say eat bread. That's for example that's all I eat. Me personally, I never hungry. I mean not that hungry that I can eat something else, but bread I always eat. So it's like you fulfill your requirement. Okay, just enjoy and something to drink. That's basically enough, and you did the mitzvah. Okay, number 5. All the lechem mishnah is required. The bread need not to be covered. So in this case, also as we said before, I think last week, that we need 2 breads, right? So if a person, as we say, he does not have 2 breads, for example, this Shabbos I did not have 2 breads. Usually I do, but the bread was so delicious, so they cut it from my from my second bread during this daily meal, Baruch Hashem. But so I have only half of the loaf. So I had 1 full and 1 half. As we said last week, it's also considered lechem mishnah, and under the circumstances. Okay, but as we just said, so we don't cover the bread because why? Because during the Friday night and Shabbos day meals we have kiddush, and on the third meal we don't have kiddush. So basically, there is no reason whatsoever to cover bread. Okay, number 6. It is customary to eat fish. It is not considered. It is considered praiseworthy to make bracha over wine during the course of the meal, even though the kiddush is not recited. So it's praiseworthy, as we said, to make a bracha. So I would say it depends what he does during the meal. So for example, if this Seuda Shlishi is always like in the middle of my learning. So me personally, I never drink wine because it's not proper to drink wine and then go back to learning. So that's my explanation why I don't drink wine. Okay, part number 6. So it's a third meal on Shabbos, which falls on Erev Yom Tov. So it's actually the way I understand, I didn't check double check calendar, but somebody told me. So this Shabbos, this Pesach, it's going to be Motzei Shabbos, meaning after the Shabbos ends. Okay. So meaning the third is so as we said, this meaning what? That you have to have appetite for your Yom Tov meal, right? It means what? That that the third meal should be eaten as early as possible. So let's see. Okay, number one should not eat full weekday meal on Erev Shabbos, beginning from the 9th hour of the day. On Erev Shabbos, we actually learned it. I'm not sure why they repeat it. Okay, again. So on Erev Shabbos, a person should eat his last meal as early as possible. Let's say 9 hours. So 9th hour today, I'm not sure what it would be, like maybe 3, maybe 30 or so. I'm not sure. Okay. No, the hour is calculated according to seasonal hours. See chapter 3. Okay, we got it. So basically, so the person should have appetite for his Friday night meal. Likewise, when Shabbos is Erev Yom Tov, or when Yom Tov is on Shabbos, one is not permitted to eat full meal for his Seudah Shlishis after the 9th hour of the day, right? As this would normally be done on Shabbos. So as we said before, like in regular Shabbos, so you can eat meal even like half an hour before the end of the Shabbos, right? I mean start meal. So there is no problem. But here he would need to eat his night meal, which is the first meal of Yom Tov. So it's conflict. So they say it's finished until 9th hour, but usually like it's very lenient opinion. So people usually people say like even earlier than that. Needless to say that one may eat the regular Seudah Shlishis prior to 9th hour. So finish up to 9th hour, but do it as early as possible. However, he should not begin before the half an hour past the midday. Okay, as we said before. So basically, like it's not so much room to choose when you're going to eat your third meal, right? So after 6.5, but before the 9th. In the event that one forgot or did not have time to eat Seudah Shlishis before the 9th hour, he should not eat full meal, but should eat a little more than kibbutz of bread. So then they say, okay, so maybe he's not going to be so full from kibbutz of bread. Okay. Some have a custom of dividing the morning meal into two. There is they recite Birchas Hamazon after they ate part of the meal, and they take a stroll outdoors to effect hefsek, interruption, and return to wash and complete the meal. The care should be taken that the second portion of the meal should begin after the half an hour past the midday. Okay, let's explain. Let's explain what it means. So first of all, they say, okay, so a person, let's say he does not want to make like two separate meals, right? He wants to do like make his morning meal split in half. Okay, so he can eat enough, right? Like half of what he was planning to do. Say Birchas Hamazon, meaning the blessing after the meal. Go outside. So now when he comes back, so it's like for him it's a different meal, right? It's a different meal, and now he can wash again for bread and eat a second, finish whatever is left from his original meal, right? So, and it's going to be halachically considered as two separate meals. Okay. So we finished that chapter. Next chapter is Birchas Hamazon. I'm not sure. Maybe I should skip Birchas Hamazon, and next time, I don't know, waste time now. So next time, if you want to learn it, so we can. I would ask you to get your siddur or bencher with Birchas Hamazon, so you can see exactly the text. The text what we're talking about, because there's some. There's some addition on Shabbos and Yom Tov and what to say if one made a mistake and stuff like that. So without text, it's very hard to understand what's going on. Okay, so I'm going to skip it for now, and let's go to next chapter. And the topic is Kiddush on Shabbos morning. Okay, so number one, the mitzvah derabanan. It is a mitzvah derabanan to recite Kiddush Shabbos morning. So mitzvah derabanan, it's rabbinical mitzvah. So on Friday night we say it's biblical, and Shabbos morning it's rabbinical. But the only difference is that in case of the need, the laws for morning meal is for the morning Kiddush is more relaxed than from Friday night. The Rabbanan is, in case of the need, is more lenient. This mitzvah is incumbent upon all adults, men, women, children, old enough to be trained in the mitzvahs. So we're talking about children that maybe after 6-7 years old, when they understand what's going on. Number two, since the morning Kiddush is only derabanan, midrabanan, one who is uncertain whether he recite the morning Kiddush need not to repeat it. So I'm not sure what happened. Maybe this guy has a fever, or he didn't feel well, he had a headache, this and that, and he does not know if he said the Kiddush. Okay, it's possible. I would say if somebody has fever, it's possible. So now, and he went to bed and he woke up, and now he has no idea that they say Kiddush or not. So in this case, he does not say. Okay. Okay, so continue. We say the text. And I prepare my siddur also. 1 second, let me open, because I don't like the spelling. Okay, so let's see. So they say the morning Kiddush consists simply of bracha, bareplicha gefen. So that's the whole Kiddush. So you raise the cup of wine. So if you don't have siddur with you, this or that, and you don't have bencher and you don't have a text, so you just say bareplicha gefen, and that's your Kiddush. Okay. It is a custom to preface the bracha with the verse Veishamru. Okay, it's from Shmos. And some begin with the verse Zecher Zachor Es Yom HaShabos. Okay. And with 1 second, I am checking my siddur. It's not exactly like in my siddur. In my siddur, it's a little different. It says Im Tashiv, it's the first paragraph. Veishemru is the second paragraph, and Zachor is a third paragraph. So a little different sequence, but that's okay. So, but all of these 3 paragraphs, as we just said, they like additions, but the main Kiddush is bareplicha gefen. Okay, number 2. The prohibition before eating before Kiddush. Number 1. Adults are forbidden to eat or drink anything, even water, before fulfilling their Kiddush obligation. Minors, boys under 13 and girls under 12, are permitted to eat before Kiddush. Okay, so basically all of the grown-ups cannot eat or drink before Kiddush, even water. The Kiddush obligation on Shabbos morning does not take effect until after he dawens Shacharis. So, as we explained in our Kitzur class, right? So it's exactly like parallel to what we learned here. So he's not so he cannot drink or eat before Kiddush, right? On one hand. On another hand, he can do Kiddush only, he's obligated to do Kiddush only after he dawens Shacharis. So basically, before he dawens Shacharis, he's allowed to drink water or coffee, right? He does not have this obligation of Kiddush yet. So, okay, number 2. Since before davening one is forbidden to eat any food other than water, see below, it is not yet possible to make Kiddush. Consequently, the Kiddush obligation on Shabbos morning does not take effect until after one daven Shacharis. So basically, that's what he can do. He can drink coffee, tea, whatever he wants before water, before the davening, and there is no problem. There is no Kiddush obligation here. Number 3, since before davening is not, since before davening one is not yet obligated to make Kiddush, one is permitted to drink water. Tea, coffee are also permitted. Okay, as we said before. Number 4, a weak person. It's exactly parallel what we said in Kitzur class. A weak person who must eat something before davening must first recite Kiddush. Since the weak person is permitted to eat even before davening because of his illness, he is obligated to make Kiddush. The obligation to make Kiddush has already taken effect on him, and he must therefore make Kiddush before eating. So it's very interesting halacha. So sick person, so he's, as we said yesterday, he's allowed to eat. I mean, he's a sick person. He's weak. He's this. He's that. So, and since he's allowed to eat, so but he cannot eat now before making Kiddush. So he must make Kiddush first, eat, and then daven. That's how he should act. Okay, number 5. After davening Shacharis, one is obligated to make Kiddush even if he had not yet davened Musaf. Okay, so one more time. After davening Shacharis, one is obligated to make Kiddush even if he had not yet davened Musaf. Okay. So basically, in some shuls, that's what they do. For example, on I know they do some shuls on Rosh Hashanah. It's a long davening, so they don't want to fast after the midday, and for sure it's going to be after the midday in Rosh Hashanah. It's very long prayers, so they do Kiddush before the Musaf. Okay. So continue. Thus, one may not even drink the water after Shacharis before reciting Kiddush. So he finished Shacharis, but so now he must say Kiddush. Even he can do it before davening Musaf, because Musaf it's additional prayers that we add on Shabbos and holidays. So they can be even recited like later on the day. So the preferable time is recite them, of course, as soon as possible, meaning as soon as he finishes Shacharis. That's not a question. But technically, he can do it during even later on the day. Okay. One who recited Kiddush after Shacharis before Musaf may not eat a complete meal. However, since he must first daven Musaf, so a complete meal he cannot eat, but some izoin, some things, fruits, and he can do. Nevertheless, he may eat up a kibeitza of bread. Usually people don't eat bread at that point, but up to kibeitza of bread. So kibeitza, as we said, 2 ounces of bread. or other grain food, meaning samizonis, cookies. One may also eat as much as he wants of other non-grain foods. So non-grain meaning I don't know, bananas, like all of fruits and vegetables, salads. Okay. If one feels weak after shacharis, he may eat even more than kibetza of bread or grain food before davening musaf. So one more time. If one feels weak after shacharis, he may eat even more than kibetza of bread of grain foods before davening musaf. So the weak person, I mean, that's he eats this food for the sake of the davening. It's not like he indulging, right? So we would allow him to eat more. Okay. Number 6, and we can stop here. So it says one who is extremely weak and needs sustenance before musaf, and who has neither wine nor hamar medina nor bread on which to make kiddush at that moment may eat cake or fruit without making kiddush. So this number 6 says, okay, so if he does not have on what to make a kiddush, meaning what? Meaning we said bread, wine, or hamar medina. So hamar medina, we said it's a beverage of the country, which could be coffee, tea, whiskey, Coca-Cola, like fruit juices, like maybe this, what is it, orange juice and stuff like that. So if he does not have all of this, so okay, so we allowed him to eat without kiddush. Okay, we can stop here.